Ah, yes, good old Porcupine Tree, man. I was going to get around to it sooner or later, and today's the day, man. Porcupine Tree, one of the most important and influential prog rock bands of the last 30 years, led by the great Steven Wilson. He, of course, is the brightest star in the prog constellation today. In fact, his face is the only one that's pre-carved on the Mount Rushmore of modern proggers. Wilson started the band in 1987 in his bedroom in Hertfordshire, England, and it was basically just a hobby for him, something to do to pass the time. He didn't even have a real band, it was just him, and he got around to dropping an album like in 1992, but before that he'd put out some cassettes. You know, so one of the things about Porcupine Tree that I hear all the time, oh, hey, greetings, salutations, respect, and love, everybody. Let me do that. But yeah, one of the things, like every time I put Porcupine Tree or Steven Wilson on in the car stereo, my wife's like, I thought you liked listening to prog in the car, you know, so she thinks he's more alternative, and there's definitely a lot of alternative in his sound. Porcupine Tree went through some very distinct eras. The early stuff was definitely more psychedelic, you know, getting into the Britpop stuff in the middle era, and then, you know, the heavier sounds of the modern Porcupine Tree. But today, I am going to be ranking all 11 Porcupine Tree albums, and I'm starting right now with number 11, and it is the debut album from 1992, On the Sunday of Life. This thing came about as a result of basically taking songs from cassettes. Tarquin's Seaweed Farm came out in 1989. Nostalgia Factory came out in 1990, and the title track on that makes it on here, and it's just awesome. Yellow Hedgerow Dreamscape was another cassette he put out. So all these different songs come on here, and there's a couple keepers here. Radioactive Toy absolutely is great, but a lot of these are just kind of like psychedelic experiments and whatnot. I don't think he even envisioned any of this stuff really becoming an album, but it's actually really good. If this is your last, this is your worst, man, you're doing good. At number 10, I'm going with the follow-up. It's Up the Downstair from 1993. Yeah, it's the band's second album. And things are coming a little bit more clear. There's a little more cohesion. It's coming a little bit more into focus. You've got some guest musicians here, which kind of get the ball rolling right on Always Never. Colin Edwin plays bass. The title track, you've got Richard Barbieri. At this point, Steven was starting to get the band together, right? And this album also has the great Burning Sky on it. If you do want to get a copy of this, definitely get the 2004 reissue, because all the drum programming was re-recorded by none other than the great Gavin Harrison. Cool album, not bad. Number 9, I'm going with The Incident from 2009, the band's 10th album, and this one kind of left me cold after 3 amazing albums in a row. I understand why Steven Wilson wanted to kind of break out from the routine and do something a little bit different. So on this one, you've got an epic suite that takes up disc 1. It's really 14 songs. It's about like 55 minutes long. And then there's a bonus disc with the 4 songs that runs like 20 minutes. It's Saved by Bonnie the Cat. I love that song, but let's talk about that main disc just for a minute. It's a little convoluted, maybe not quite as heavy as like Dead Wing or Fear of a Blank Planet, but it's definitely got, you know, that same kind of feel to it. But I just don't feel like the songs are as good here. With the exception of some of the tracks in the main disc. Octane Twisted's really cool. The Blind House I love, and I do enjoy that final piece on disc 1. I Drive the Hearse, that's a cool track, but overall The Incident never really hit me that hard, man. At number 8, Stupid Dream from 1999, the band's 5th album, and this one's got a little bit of a personality crisis, but I love it. It's really depressing. Shorter songs on this thing, getting a little more commercial, I guess, and the songs are kind of split between, you know, more of that commercial, almost Britpop sounding kind of stuff. Hey, it was 1999, right? Songs like Piano Lessons and This Is No Rehearsal, definitely more accessible than we had heard from Porcupine Tree, but don't be worried, man. This album's got lots of great stuff on there. Slave Called Shiver, fantastic. Pure Narcotic, very proggy. Even Less is dynamite. Don't Hate Me. This is a good album, man. I really, really enjoy this album a lot. Hard to believe it's all the way down at number 8. Crazy. That's how good this band is. At number 7, let's go to the new one, Closure Continuation from 2022, the band's 11th and latest album. Yeah, Colin Edwin not involved. I guess this all started with Steven Wilson hanging out with Gavin Harrison, and they're just goofing off, and Steven Wilson picks up a bass and he starts playing what would become Hattigan. And I guess they never bothered calling Colin Edwin because he never bothered calling Steven Wilson. So Wilson's like, I guess he's not interested. So I guess we'll move on as a 3-piece. After a 13-year break, man, you don't expect songs as good as Rat's Return or Dignity or Herd Calling, man. I love that song. And the album closes with an amazing track called Chimera's Wreck. There is a bonus disc. 3 songs on that are really, really good. But yeah, I like this album a lot. What a great return after 13 years away. Absolutely. At number 6, let's go with The Sky Moves Sideways from 1995. Their 3rd album, and this was the first album that they actually were kind of like a band. You had a real drummer here. Chris Maitland's first appearance on a Porcupine Tree album is here, and you've even got Theo Travis showing up, which is great. There was a remaster to this that came out in 2003, so some of the tracks redone by Gavin Harrison. The title track is amazing. It's broken up in 2 parts. It's like 34 minutes long altogether. It's awesome. Moon Loop, I'm not quite as crazy about, but Dislocated Day is great. I really like Sky Move Sideways. I think it works really well as an album. To me, it's kind of like the first real album from the band, I guess, whereas the first 2 were a little more experimental and kind of solo project-y, if you will. At number 5, an album a lot of people don't understand, maybe the most misunderstood album in their entire discography. And I'm talking about Signify from 1996, the band's 4th album. And after 3 albums of steady growth where you could definitely see where they were headed to, they throw Signify in the mix, and it's like, it's a real head scratcher, man. It's so ambient and droney and dreamscapey. Yeah, the Pink Floydism's absolutely still solidly in place, but you got some good tracks on here, man. Sleep of No Dreaming, Waiting, both parts there. Every Home is Wired. There's just something weird and creepy about this album that I cannot get enough of, and it starts with the album cover artwork. Really had me sucked in before I'd heard a single note. Yeah, Signify. I love it. At number 4, it was just reissued. It's Deadwing. Yeah, if you would ask me a couple of days ago, I would have guessed Deadwing would have been number 1 or number 2. But here we are. I got it at number 4, the band's 8th album. And this is part of that great trilogy, right? The album that came before it and the album that came after it. Get all the roses, all the love. This one kind of gets forgotten about a little bit, but it probably shouldn't with songs like the title track, Shallow. Lazarus is so good. Halo. Arriving Somewhere But Not Here. What a great, great, great track. That is one of my favorite songs. Mellotron Scratch is a lot of fun. Glass Arm Shattering does kind of return to kind of Burning Sky territory, and I do appreciate that. This album is heavy. It's, maybe not quite as heavy as the ones on either side. I don't know, but it's also got Adrian Belew and Michael Ackerfeld on there, so it's worth it just for the price of admission right there. At number 3, I'm going with Lightbulb Sun, man. I just dig this album, right? This is the last one before the big change, right? Before Chris left and Gavin Harrison came in the band. So these are, basically just basic like songs. You hear a lot of that Britpop influence still going on here. It's 2000, and Steven Wilson's a guy that didn't just listen to like Yes and King Crimson and stuff. He listened to a whole bunch of stuff like Cocteau Twins and XTC growing up. So you hear all of those influences all the way through here. It's so good, man. The title track, I love the acoustic guitar on there. How's Your Life Today? Such a beautiful mellow ballad. You don't even notice that Gavin takes the song off. 4 chords, man. What? I love that track. Yeah, so nice, kind of Beatlesy. You get back into Floyd mode with the songs like Last Chance. Russia on Ice definitely has a Pink Floyd kind of feel to it, but I absolutely love it because Animals is my favorite Pink Floyd album, and it does kind of harken back to Animals era. And Hate Song, let's talk about the bass line, Collins bass playing in that one. Just amazing. Light Bulb Sun, what a great, great, great album. I just dig it. Absolutely. At number 2, we're going with In Absentia from 2002. This was where Gavin Harrison has joined the band, and it's a total change. Yeah, you can hear it still, Steven Wilson, but man, the band has got a little sharper edge, a little bit heavier. You hear some of those metallic sounds, and you've got songs on here, man. Oh boy, do you have songs on here. Trains is on here, Blackest Eyes. The Sound of Muzak is on here. Gravity Eyelids. It's like hit after hit after hit. Wedding Nails. Prodigal. The Creator has the master tape. Thing ends with Collapse. The Light into Earth. How is this not the best Porcupine Tree album? It's insane that there's one better, but there is one better, and you guys know what it is. The perfect distillation of everything that Porcupine Tree ever wanted to be is at number 1. It's Fear of a Blank Planet from 2007, the band's 9th album, and it's absolutely perfect. It's the only one I would rank a 10 out of 10 personally, but your mileage may vary on that. I love this thing so much, man. It's concise. It's all the things a lot of Porcupine Tree albums wish they were. It gets to where it needs to go, and then it moves on. But the songs, they're not short little songs either. They're just perfect, man. 7 of them. The title track, so good. My Ashes, one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. Anesthetize, come on. Everybody knows that song, and you get Alex Lifeson too, man. Sentimental, beautiful track. You hear the Marillion influence there. Way Out of Here's got Robert Fripp. Oh, yeah, Porcupine Tree's not a prog band. Yeah, you got Alex Lifeson and Robert Fripp on your album. I think you're probably a prog band. And then the album ends with Sleep Together, which is a song I do like it. It's probably the worst song on the album, but it's not enough for me to take away the perfect score on this album. I absolutely love it. And you even get Dave Stewart doing the orchestrations, man. So if that's not prog, I don't know what is. I absolutely love Porcupine Tree. I'm so glad they're back. Touring with Randy McStein. He's so awesome. That's really cool. But anyway, we just got off the heels of Clickbait Week. So I figured, we're not in clickbait week anymore, but what's more clickbaity than Steven Wilson, right? Anyway, boys and girls, I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East, free Tibet, and God save the king. Save them! Save King Chucky! That boy could use your saving right about now. Bring him to America where we got them good doctors, and we can do some good doctoring on him, lay some hands on him. We're going to lay some hands on them, then we're going to drink some poison, and we're going to dance with snakes. We're going to dance with snakes, and we're going to be all right, and King Chucky will be just fine, and England will rise again. Peace. I love you guys. See you tomorrow.